His podcast?
Yeah, podcast. We don't even know what a podcast is. Podcast. We don't even know what a podcast is. Podcast. We don't even know what a podcast is. Podcast. We don't even know what a podcast is. Podcast. We don't even know what a podcast is. Podcast. We don't even know what a podcast is. Podcast. We don't even know what a podcast is.
Well, maybe you should have learned, Mr. Mill. Take it easy there, Mr. Mill. AKA, if you know him on a first name basis, Meek. And you know, Meek is actually a synonym for timid and frail and weak. Meek and hungry. That's actually a good word for rapper, hungry. But, you know, I made that Meek Mill podcast jingle a while ago. Meek Mill was on an interview, and he said he didn't know what a podcast was, making fun of somebody else, making fun of Joe Budden for making fun of... Joe Budden said some shit to him about him on a podcast, and his way of responding to it on an interview was saying that he didn't even know what a piecast is what he called it. He didn't even know what that was. Now, hey, man, if you're going to make these claims about not knowing what standard internet shit like podcasts are, you know, maybe if you're telling the truth, maybe you should have caught up. Maybe you should have learned what it was because, you know, now, since that time, you're kind of a laughingstock amongst the internet. I'm sure you know what a meme is now. I imagine you've heard a lot of hip-hop-based podcasts that are talking shit about you now. And I'm sure that you don't want to battle with Wax's podcast. Because let me tell you something. I will say shit like I'm doing right now for hours on end. If you come at me, Meek Mill, on Meek Mill's podcast, I'm an experienced vet. This is episode 96, man. That's 96 hours of podcast. That's the equivalent of 96 albums worth of music, except much easier to make in a much shorter period of time with much less thought and other people involved. It's a lot fucking easier is what I'm saying, to make a podcast. A piecast. And when I say a piecast, I don't mean sticking an apple pie on the end of a fishing hook and throwing it into the ocean off of a pier attached to a string, hoping that a tuna will bite the other side. I'm not talking about that kind of piecast. I'm talking about what Meek Mill called a podcast. He don't even know what a podcast is. I digress. My name is Wax. God damn it. Haven't smoked in 2 days. Haven't smoked cigarettes. And strangely enough, I'm sure as some of you guys know, some of you ex-smokers or people that have tried to quit, the strange thing about smoking cigarettes is when you quit, the first 3 or 4 days, you actually feel more lung and throat, whatever that is, than you do when you're smoking, because I think there's a little time period where it's kind of trying to clean itself up. So I apologize if I sound even more fucking out of breath and sick than I usually do. But I'm excited, and you know, simple things make me excited, y'all. I was talking to my boy Kurt yesterday. My boy Kurt B plays bass for me. Great dude. And he was talking to me on the phone. He was like, man, my girlfriend's in the process of making me a BLT right now. He fucking described it to a T. She was getting fresh tomatoes, putting salt and pepper on them. Even used a French baguette with thick slices of bacon. So I went to the fucking diner this morning. I got a BLT. And let me tell you something, man. There's something, I don't know how you grew up. But for some reason, a family tradition in my household is the bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich. I was raised Catholic, and every Sunday we would go to church. Every Sunday. And on the way home from church, there was a little farmer stand. Like I've said on this podcast before, I come from a small town. And on the way from my church to my house, there was a stand. It was called Trot's. And in the summer, you could get fresh corn that had been picked this morning. And also there was all kinds of shit you could get there, but you could get fresh tomatoes. And anybody that knows anything about tomatoes, there's nothing like a fresh tomato. I'm not even a big fan of tomatoes. I don't give a fuck about tomatoes. I don't care about tomatoes that much. Now, cottage cheese, I went on a big rant about cottage cheese the other day about how I don't care about it and how it's the worst food and how it's completely swagless and you should never eat it unless you're the most boring person ever, and you're not going to get laid eating cottage cheese. Anyway, cottage cheese is just like, I said back in the day talking shit about cantaloupe, that if fruit salad was Wu-Tang, cantaloupe would be Capadonna. But now I feel like if that fruit salad was actually like somehow sitting on top of cottage cheese, I think people do that, right? Do people destroy fruit by putting it in cottage cheese? I don't know. But if they did that, I feel like the cottage cheese, what would it represent? It'd represent like, you know what? It'd represent the record label that tried to steer them the wrong way. If you remember an old Jizza line, he said, first of all, who's your A&R? A mountain climber who plays an electric guitar? That guy is the cottage cheese. That A&R guy is the cottage cheese. Capadonna's the cantaloupe. And, of course, the greats such as RZA. RZA's the foundation, so he's the watermelon. ODB's the crazy shit that's amazing, so he's like a fresh kiwi or something like that. And, meth, probably like a strawberry. And along the lower level, like you got is it's not quite, he's like a honeydew. He's not as bad as Capadonna, but you get the point. What the fuck was I talking about? Oh, yeah. So every Sunday, we would my dad, for some reason, I don't know why, he still is. I went back recently, still the same thing. Like, he loves BLTs. The BLT sandwich standard is toasted white bread, mayonnaise, lettuce, iceberg lettuce, not some fucking fancy darker lettuce that you would put on a salad. Iceberg crunchy light green lettuce. Tomato, bacon. So it's not rocket science, it's BLT. The only unnamed ingredients. The only ingredients of a BLT that are not in the acronym are bread and mayonnaise. And I guess you could sprinkle a little pepper or something on there. Some people might be as wild to add a little bit of onion, maybe a piece of cheese. Of course, the avocado. The avocado now is, of course, a lot of people call it the BLTA and add avocado to it. But the way that the BLT is, the way that the mayonnaise, the tomato, the bacon, and the lettuce combine, and the way it all tastes together, the only way I could describe it to you, at least the way I feel about it because of my upbringing, it's like, I haven't lived in my family's household in a while. I live by myself. I've lived here for years in Los Angeles. My parents are 3,000 miles away. And, when I go back there and I get a nice warm embrace from my mother, it feels great. I feel it's very, very familiar. It's very familiar. It's like that familiarity that you've known since you were a kid, that you still yearn for no matter how much you can have it. But it feels even sweeter when you haven't had it in a long time. That's how I feel about the way that the bacon, lettuce, tomato, and mayonnaise, and white bread. But the bread is less important. It's the way that those things combine that makes me feel like that. And I was telling Kurt last night, what people don't know about the BLT, people think the most important ingredient in the BLT is the B. It's not. The most important ingredient is the T. If you get a tomato from just Ralph's or Albertsons or one of these random stores, it's all right. It has the texture of a tomato. But if you get a fresh tomato, man, if you go back in your backyard and you have a garden and you pick a tomato off that tree, that vine or whatever the fuck it's called, it's nothing like it, man. And that's what I talked about on my podcast today. I talked about fucking bacon sandwiches. What else is going on, y'all? You know what else is going on? I released something that I'm really excited about today. I released a trailer. Go to my YouTube page, y'all. Go to my Facebook page. Any of my fucking social media pages will have a link. Whether it's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or whatever the fuck else I have. YouTube is the best because that's where it's actually at. YouTube.com/wax. I don't know if I told you all that. Like, it used to be youtube.com/wax and herbal tea, and it still is. But now, this was a while ago, we made it so, it just to make it easier. And because, I'm more active on there than my brother, at least I used to be, but he's probably about equal now. But just to make it easier for people that are confused. Like if they see like wax wraps in car, then they're gonna. It's like had so many people tell me that like, what's her bolt? What's her bolt? So just to make it easier, a while back we were actually able to contact YouTube and just get youtube.com/WAX. So if you go that, it actually takes you to the Wax and Herbal Tea site. So go check it out. My most recent video is a trailer for a series I'm putting out. I might have mentioned it on the podcast. I try to tell y'all shit ahead of time, which, you know, I will actually tell you something ahead of time today. But put out the trailer for this series. I already recorded, I already shot the series. It's called Chain Reaction. And the reason it's called Chain Reaction is it's a food review show. Really not a food review, a restaurant review show. And I only review chain restaurants. I already shot all the episodes. They're already edited. I might have to add a couple things to the end just to be like, yo, buy my album here, or watch my video here, or fucking go to iTunes here, or listen to my podcast here, just to make it some kind of advertising on it, right? Trying to be a little bit savvy, you know what I mean? And what do I got? What am I trying to say here? Yeah, so that I put out the trailer for that today. It's just like kind of letting people know that it's going to come out. And starting on October 13th, I'm going to be putting them shits out every Tuesday. I think I have 5 or 6 of them. And I'm going to see how people like it. And if people do, I'm going to shoot another season of it. I would like to, be honest with y'all, man. My goal with this thing is not only for people to enjoy it. My goal is to maybe possibly work my way into becoming a host of a travel show or a food review show on a real TV show where they pay me for it and shit. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but that'd be awesome, man. I got a lot of ideas for shows like that, and I think it's amazing that people make money, even if they don't make a lot of money. You watch them on TV and they just go around the world and just see all these different places. A lot of them are just talking about restaurants. Some of them are talking about eating weird food. Some of them are just like here's the tourist thing here. Here's the weird, like being a tour guide in front of a camera. And I think I could fucking kill the game with that shit, y'all. I think that'd be a good gig for me to have besides being a musician. I think it'd be fun. I think it'd be a cool travel opportunity. And even though I've gotten to travel a lot doing music, like it's generally like you go somewhere and you see the fucking music venue. And it kind of becomes a little Groundhog Day-ish. You know, it kind of becomes sort of the same thing all the time. And I'm trying to parlay my way into becoming a host for a little while. At least trying. If not, shit happens. You know what I mean? But I think I could do it, y'all. Plus, if this season of Chain Reaction goes well, and I can find some fucking dickhead that works at the Food Network, if I can find some fuckface that works for the Travel Channel, slap him in the face with the fucking demo, and he likes it, she likes it, whoever it is. Maybe in the season 2, we could actually get permission from these restaurants to record and not get kicked out of every single place we shoot a show at. There wasn't one place we didn't get kicked out of. The show would be a lot better too if it wasn't, if it was less guerrilla, if we could interview people and we could fucking pre-write the jokes a little more. I could have my homie help me write it. Like, I could kill this shit, son. I could do a really good job. I know I fucking could. And that's what I'm into. So besides just making music, I think my next project after this one I'm about to put out is going to kind of go somewhere like that. A little bit more laid back shit. Speaking of putting stuff out, and speaking of saying shit on the podcast earlier than I say it to whatever the fuck, what am I trying to say here? I'm like, in my side of my own head right now, I'm multitasking. I'm like looking at one thing, thinking about another thing, and talking about another thing. Let me focus. Let me get back on track here. All right. So that happened today with the Chain Reaction show, but something else is going to happen tomorrow. I don't know what. I guess that might be today, just considering I'm recording this on Tuesday. I'll probably put it out tonight. So unless you listen to this real early, who knows? Maybe you're listening to this a year from when I recorded it. My album came out a fucking year ago. But tomorrow I'm going to announce my album release date. I'm going to put out my album on October 23rd. It's official. I finally have an actual date where that's when it's going to come out. So October 23rd, my album is called Livin' Foul. It's called Livin' Foul, and tomorrow I'm putting out like a little video that kind of talks about it. So stay tuned for that. Check that out. And the album's dope, man. The album's good. I need to shoot some more videos for the songs on. Excuse me. I fucking ate that BLT like I said, and my fucking stomach is just full of bacon gas. You know what's weird is when I ate that BLT, I felt like that dude who ate steak in the Matrix movie because he kind of knew that it was wrong. Like, and let me explain myself first. There's a you guys that listen to this. Sorry about that. Let me explain myself first. Like I was saying, anybody that listens to this podcast knows that I'm really into watching Netflix documentaries, especially there. I said it, y'all. I said especially. I can't stop saying that, but I swear to God, I don't say specifically instead of specifically. Anyway, I like watching Netflix documentaries, especially shit that's related to conspiracies. And I saw one last night, and it was rated 5 stars. I hate how Netflix rates. I hate how they give you a star rating based on how they think you will feel about it. Just give me the fucking star rating that's comprised of what every single person that watched it thinks about it. Don't tell me what you think the fuck I'm going to think. You know, anybody out there, you're not going to be able to answer my question. I'm posing a question. It's not like you're going to answer, but, and you guys like when you watch, if you guys have Netflix and you're going through and you're looking at how many stars each movie has, which to me is a big deal. I really look at that shit. If it's got 2 stars, I ain't going to waste my hour and a half or 2 hours watching it. But when you look at it closely, you can change it. So you can change it. You know, there's options to set it. But the way it is, the fucking, what's it called? It comes up natural. Default. The default setting is that, like, here's what we think you'll think about it. We think that you'll give it a 4 stars based on the shit you watched before and rated before. It's like, motherfucker, I'm a complicated person. I'm not a fucking robot. Fuck out of here. Think what I'll think about it. Just give me the total what every single person watched. Treat them all as equals. Treat this as a democracy, like a presidential election. Don't think that you know me, motherfucker. You don't fucking know me, Netflix. Fuck out of here, man. And oh man, that's kind of funny actually. Could be a stand-up thing. Yeah, so last night was no different. It's different as far as me watching conspiracy documentaries. And I watched one that Netflix told me I would give a 5 to. I fucking wouldn't. I'd give it probably a 3.5, maybe 4. But it was an eye-opening movie. A lot of it was, you know, if you're looking at facts, I know it was obviously a guy, you know, a lot of these documentaries are just like when you watch when you write a fucking paper in college and you have to prove your point. You're really more into proving your point than telling the truth. You know what I mean? Like, the whole thing is based on a thesis statement. And you'll use whatever statistics you need to prove your thesis statement and kindly disregard all facts that state anything otherwise. So you got to always look out for that with these movies. But this movie I watched last night is called Cowspiracy. Get it? Like conspiracy, except instead of the N, it's a W. Cowspiracy. And it basically was talking about, and a lot of it's very true. The way that we eat meat on the earth is actually one of the biggest causers of pollution and global warming and just generally fucking up the ecosystem of the world in its entirety. A lot of people don't realize how much land we use to raise cattle and how that was not like that 500 years ago, and how the reason they were knocking down these forests and fucking up all the grass. A lot of this isn't us. A lot of this is for the animals that we eat. And if you think about it, say there's a cow that produces, the statistics are all in the movie. Granted, like some of them are like a little, you know, but whatever. If you think about it, and I didn't even realize how much water and food cows eat. Like, it's crazy how they eat so much fucking grain every day and drink so much water every day, and then a lot of that gets shit and pissed out, blah blah blah. And by the end of their lifetime, when they're turned into beef, it's actually taken 660 gallons of water to make enough beef for one hamburger. So that's a pretty crazy statistic to think about. And basically, at the end of this movie, they were basically saying the only way to fucking The only way the world's going to be sustainable in the long term is if we stop eating meat. That was basically the thesis, or at least like drastically cut back on how much meat we eat. And so when I ate this BLT today, and I drank my coffee with cream in it because they were saying the same shit about dairy, it's pretty fucking interesting. Like, you eat one egg, and you don't realize that to make that egg, you consider how many eggs a chicken laid and how much food and water it drank. Like, it takes a lot of energy and resources to make that one egg. So that's pretty interesting. Something I never really thought about that much. You know what I mean? But that's why, my sort of guilt. When you watch a movie like that, you think to yourself for 5 seconds, like, yeah, man, I'm going to be a vegan, yeah. And then, like, right after that, the next skippable ad is for Carl's Jr., and they show a bacon cheeseburger. You're like, nah. It's kind of what happened to me today with this BLT. I still had, like, a little bit of guilt in my system from Cowspiracy, but it kind of made the sandwich even that much better. It's like cheating on a woman. You feel so bad, but but there's a rush to it. I'm not saying that that's something that I do personally, but like, I think I'm thinking that more in terms of, like, say you're married and you watch a porn where that's the dialogue of not dialogue. It's the fucking story. That's the you're married, you watch a porn, and the porn's about cheating on your wife. Or even your wife cheating on you, or whatever kind of freaky shit you're into. Like, there's a thrill there. And that's how I kind of felt. If you take the thrill of cheating on your wife, make the morality level of it way less amoral, and make the drasticness of the thrill like 1 out of 100 times of that, and then to all that add a delicious flavor and taste, and the hug of your mother, as I described the BLT flavor earlier. That's how I felt while eating that sandwich. So the best way I could describe it is like the dude who ate the steak when he was in the Matrix, and he knew it wasn't real. He knew it wasn't even necessarily right. He knew he was fooling himself. It's just signals going to some robot brain, or however that movie worked. And that's it. That's all it was. That's how I felt today eating this BLT. And you know what? I felt good. Like, dude, sorry, I'm looking at text messages and shit. It changed my mood. Like I woke up in a really bad mood this morning. Trying not to smoke, like I said. And to do that, I'm not drinking. You know what I mean? And I woke up just feeling irritable. Just didn't want to fucking deal with anything. Went and got that BLT, and it fucking I was talking to somebody about this a couple of days ago. I don't know why I'm doing this whole podcast about food. But any of you guys out there, sushi enjoyers, I'm somebody who enjoys sushi. But the main thing that I enjoy sushi-wise is a piece of actual sushi, not sashimi. I like the sushi with the thicker cut on top of the rice of just raw salmon. If you have a fresh piece of raw salmon, you dip it in a little bit of the soy and wasabi sauce, and you just let it melt inside of your mouth, that fucking buttery deliciousness. If you just if you close your eyes when you eat it and let your entire being, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, outside, inside, feel it in your toes to all your extremities, your toes and fingers and mind, and all through your torso. Like, if you allow yourself to feel like that, you can really get away from the world for a second. That's how you're supposed to enjoy sushi, and that's the only food I've ever enjoyed to the fullest like that, because it's special. There's something about it. It's almost like what I said about the BLT being this familiar taste when I was a kid, and it takes me back to a warm embrace from a relative, most notably my mother. The sushi, and that's what I'm saying. I enjoyed that BLT like that today, because I learned how to enjoy food like that from eating this salmon sushi. But if I had to make a metaphor for the salmon sushi that's kind of like that, because it's not a familiar taste. I didn't grow up eating sushi. If you ask my mom and my dad if they liked sushi, they would say no. And then you would say, why don't you like it? They'd be like, well, I've never actually tried it. From the town where I'm from, I'm sure it's changing as time gets as time goes on and people get a little bit more, liberal as far as what foods they'll allow themselves to eat, a little more hipster and aware due to things like the Food Network. Even in small towns now, every new restaurant's some fucking hipster restaurant. And people are more willing to try new things because the World Wide Web has opened their eyes to things around the world. It's all at their fingertips. But where I'm from, when I grew up, I always say there was 400 people in my graduating class in high school. If you would have asked all of them, have you ever had sushi? I bet you 10 people would say yes. That's like the kind of place I grew up in. People don't fucking eat sushi there. What the fuck was my... Oh, yeah, so my point was the way that I enjoyed this is like a dream. Like you're dreaming about something that doesn't even exist. You think it might exist in a faraway land. You know what I mean? Like you're dreaming about space and you see a beautiful woman almost like Captain Kirk used to see in Star Wars. Like, she's not human. There's something a little bit different about her. Who knows what her vagina's going to be like, but her face looks good and you want to make out with her. That's what I feel like when I eat the salmon sushi. I don't know if it's going to be a good outcome. Maybe, you go, if Captain Kirk would have went for the vagina, it would have sucked him in like a Venus flytrap. Maybe if I'd wait too long to swallow, it would come alive in my mouth. I don't know. Actually, I remember eating it. There's a Korean food. There's a Korean dish. I don't remember what it's called, but my boy Jaeon took me there when he first moved to L.A. He just liked to fuck with all his non-Korean friends and take him to this weird place where they ate live seafood. Like literally, like in the front of the restaurant, there was a aquarium full of octopus. I don't know if it was octopus or squid, but I mean, you could, if you stuck a fucking octopus and a squid in front of me right now, I'd just count his legs, I suppose. This one got 8. Sounds like a oct. But you go, like, if you order this specific type of appetizer that's meant for the whole table, you literally go up to the aquarium and you point at the fucking squid you want or whatever. And they just put that motherfucker on a plate and take a butcher knife and start going, gosh, 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 gosh. And they cut them into little pieces that are like the size of like, I guess calamari, but they look more like, what the fuck do they look like? Almost like the size of a bow tie noodle. Like a bow tie noodle? Like maybe 2 inches long and like 3/4 inches wide. But the difference between this and a bow tie noodle is when it's, first of all, a bow tie noodle doesn't have tentacles on it, those little suckers, like the end of a plunger, you know what I mean? Bow tie noodles don't have that, only these fucking squid have those. And when you get bow tie noodles brought to your table, the entire plate's not squirming and still alive. How crazy is that? I think that's the only thing I've ever eaten that was like that. Like it's still alive, like all the nerves and endings are moving. Some people at the table weren't brave enough to try it, but, I'm an artist, dog. I went for it. So you take the chopstick and you pick up the little thing. You pick up a piece of this thing, and when it gets on your chopstick, it's still moving. And I remember with mine specifically, I dipped it in, there's like a little ginger sauce it comes with, so I dipped it in there. And this motherfucker, when I dipped it in the little sauce cup, it stuck to the sauce cup with its little sucker, like those little arrows, like a suction cup. It sucked to the plate, the fucking sauce, the sauce dish. It sucked to the side of it on some like, no, don't eat me. And I remember them saying, Jay saying, and I think that the waiter actually said, he was like, make sure you chew it up, because you don't want it to do that to your esophagus. These things have been known, if you don't chew them up, they'll suck on your esophagus and it'll make you choke. So that's an interesting food. And what the sad part about it is, it wasn't that good, man. It just tasted like salt water and rubber. Tasted like if you had if you cut a piece off of a sandal and dipped it in the ocean. But it's not as rubbery as a sandal. It's more like it's more plasticky, rubbery, chewy, like what would be like that? Like a fucking I can't think of something that's like that. It's more chewy, like a gummy worm, but more like a like a gummy worm, but not gummy, like a lure, like a fucking fishing lure. You cut a piece off of a fishing lure worm. That's what it would be like, y'all. But yeah, that's I actually got to get. I'm gonna do the questions and shout outs in a little while. I gotta actually take care of something. Not that you care. For you it'll just sound like I did it right back to back, because you won't. I'm not gonna record the blank space of me going to do another errand right now. So hey, all right, I am back. And what did I want to say? I wanted to mention something before I get into questions and shout outs. Yet another thing going on with me. I don't know if you saw on my Instagram page, but I got a thing. You know, I put out that song, This One's On Me. If you don't know that I did that, go check it out on YouTube. Go to YouTube and look for Wax, This One's On Me. There's an audio one, and then there's also a whole music video that we shot. So make sure you go check that out. It's a little feel-good joint. And to go along with that, I actually did a thing. If you live in a somewhat urban area, you might have heard of Uber. But there's another company that's like Uber called Lyft, Lyft, and that's the one that I use. I think it's better. It's a tad bit cheaper, I think, but it's just a little bit more casual. And if you download the app Lyft, Lyft, the first time you use it, if you use the promo code, This One's On Wax, I think it has to be all caps, THISONESONWAX. If you use that, you get $20 off your first ride. Out here hooking you up, you know. But you know how it is, man. It's hooking you up, but they're just trying to. I'm hooking you up, but they're trying to get you hooked. You know, they're trying to get you as a future customer, and I can't blame them. I'm telling you straight up, for years. Like I'm not some fucking corporate shill over here. I've been using that shit for mad years. And it's a great place to get to where you want to go, especially if you've been drinking and you don't want your dumb ass to get a DUI like I did in the past. And like some of you dumbasses probably have too. You definitely don't want to get one of those. It'll cost you a lot of money. And even worse, you might even fuck around and make a really, really big mistake and hurt yourself or somebody else. Also, while I'm on this promotional shit, I got a new shirt. I got a new Scrub Life shirt. If you go to my website, wax.com, there's a link for store. And it's a really, really comfortable shirt, man. I'm not just saying that. It's like an American Apparel baseball shirt. And it's really comfortable. So if you want one, go get one. And you'll be supporting me and the podcast. And hopefully, if I sell enough shit like that, I won't have to go work at Target or Walmart or wherever the fuck I might have to work. I can't even go work at a fucking delivery place because the aforementioned DUI. So please help me. Please help me. I'm begging. No, I'm just kidding. No, but for real, man. If you guys like the podcast and you like me, if you like me trying to entertain you more, buy shit like that. Buy what's it called? My album that's gonna come out on October 23rd. Cop that. If you're gonna buy something off of Amazon, if you go to wax.com/podcasts, there's a link there. So if you go to my website, then go to Amazon from that link, I get like some tiny percentage. I don't even check it. It goes to my brother's, the Herbal Tea Diaper Buying Fund, and he said he certainly hasn't made a lot of money. It's not a lot, but if you're going shopping online, you're using Amazon. Doesn't change the price for you. It just means that I get a little something rather than those motherfuckers. Nah, there's great people over there who allow me to participate in this campaign. All right, let's get out of the world of the salesman and into the world of the questioner or the answerer of your questions and the shouter-outer of your names. All right, shout-out still. We got Joe F. Joe F. recommends the comedians Joe Maki and Sam Morrill. I'm actually not familiar with those comedians. I should get familiar. I'm trying to, I'm a fan of comedy, but sometimes, just like with music, you get stuck on the same people and watching the same shit, and it's hard to find somebody new, especially when, in comedy, if I'm on Netflix and I'm watching somebody special, much more, just like listening to rappers, more times than not, you're not really feeling the person. So it's good to get these recommendations. I should check that out. Thank you, Joe F. We got Trevor in Sacramento, Amanda in Baltimore, Shout out to my man BM Craze. Shout out to Randy Elizabeth, who recommends the song Another Day in the Life by Bop Alloy. We got my man Grant C. We got the lovely Tara M. We got Brad. That's it. Just Brad. We got Ryota O. We got MC Resign. I think I pronounced that wrong. He told me how to pronounce it at the burrito thing. Good to meet you, man, by the way. I had a very successful meetup with a lot of people at the Kogi Truck burrito giveaway that I did like 2 or 3 weeks ago. It was a fucking awesome time. If I haven't thanked you guys on the podcast yet for coming out to that, I really appreciate it. We had a fucking awesome time at that. We got G Productions, John S. from Long Island, Tyler G, Godot, Petey Machete. We got the one and only Nate the Plate. And supposedly, according to Nate's email this week, he's gonna send another email that details how his name originated. I can't wait to see that, Nate. Hopefully you send that email. We got Jay Merck from Portland. By the way, he is not from Poland, like I said on the last podcast. I don't know. I just didn't read that right. He's from Portland, not Poland, and his name is Jay Merck. We got Zachary F. We got Envious, who supposedly I spelled his Bandcamp wrong last time. It's EM as in Michael, VIOUS.bandcamp.com. All right. We got some questions this week, too. I'm actually really well caught up compared to where I used to am. Like, I think the last email that I saw was only like a week ago. So, shit, I might be running. beatsforwax@gmail.com. That's not the number. That's the letters FOR. beatsforwax@gmail.com is the email where you can send for questions and shout-outs for the podcast. Or if you want to just, it was originally for sending me beats. But, I mean, this album I got coming up, me and my boy Davey produced the whole thing ourselves. Not because I don't accept other people's beats due to my fucking whateverness. I don't even know what that means. But, yeah, I'd love to hear some beats if you got beats too. All right, let's see. Oh, okay, this is from Ryan M., the songwriter. Longtime friend of the podcast, Ryan M., the songwriter. Very talented dude. He said, just dropped a new album. I even got Breezy, MF, and Lovejoy on a track. A shout out to my website would be dope. The album is called Undeniable. I'm also way pumped for your album. Hope you're doing well, man. Well, I got to be honest with you, Ryan, I haven't got a chance to listen to the album yet, but I can't wait to listen to it. I'm going to do that shit tonight, actually. I'm going to check it out. And his website is ryanpaulmakesmusic.com, just like how you would think it is. RYANPAUL makesmusic.com. And it's on Spotify, too. Here's a Spotify link, and it's like it's like fucking, I'm not going to read you the link because it's like reading 10 people's social security number or something. And just check it out. I'm sure you can find it. Ryan, go to his website, goddammit, ryanpaulmakesmusic.com. I'm sure you can find the Spotify link there. All right, where we at? We got this one's from Nolan Coe. Ayo, Wax, what the fuck is up with the word sticker? I don't know about you, but I've never seen a sticker get up and stick itself to some shit. Basically, what I'm saying is I'm upset that I don't get the title of sticker. I'm the one who is making the stick happen. Stickers should be called stickies because people are the stickers. That's an interesting point you bring about, Nolan. I wonder if there's anything else that's like that. I mean, what about the blinker? What about the blinker on your car? I'm the one that's making it blink. I'm the one who hit the button. That said, it is blinking. That said, the sticker is sticking. It is. See, okay. I think I'm going to actually have to disagree with you, Nolan. I'm going to have to go ahead and disagree with you because the word stick has two different meanings. The word stick is like I stick something to something, but also something sticks. It's just like if something's sticky, it sticks. So like, like if you had an adhesive and two items, and you put the adhesive on one of the items, then put the other item onto the area where you applied the adhesive to the other item, and it sticks, then it's sticking. That is sticking. The sticker does stick. I'm going to go ahead. Just like a blinker blinks, the sticker sticks. It sticks to something. So I'm going to have to go ahead and disagree with you and agree with you because you are right. But you're not fully right, Nolan. But, it's something to think about for the rest of your life. All right, next one. Your boy, this was from your boy Tyler M. Ya being my, and me reading it in that tense just made it sound like it was your boy who's listening. What's good, Big Wax? I'm going to make this question short and sweet. I'm a musician, been spending time on my craft, transitioning from a beat maker to a producer. Nowadays, I'm trying to get my stuff out there more, and my question is, how do I get people to fucks with me? Also, any tips on networking? How do you get people to fuck with you? First of all, I think the key is patience. It's going to take some time. People aren't just going to fuck with you right off the top. It's going to take some time before you, before people just start all of a sudden being down with you. You got to make a bunch of shit. Try to, I don't know, reach out to people online. Post your beats places. Send your beats to people. There's definitely a lot you can do on the internet. I mean, it's difficult. The best thing you can do, obviously, is to make amazing shit. When shit is just fucking amazing, people will spread it. People will love it. If it's remarkable, people will make remarks about it in the form of comments on YouTube videos and Facebook posts or whatever. And, you got to make shit that's fucking fantastic. And your best bet, I would say, as a producer, I don't know what kind of producer you are, but you said you're transitioning from a beat maker to a producer. So if you're making songs, you got to find somebody just as good as you to match your caliber of beat or song writing. It's hard, man. It's hard to find people, If everybody was really, really good, then, everybody can't. There's always people that are the best. So I don't know. You gotta wade through the sea of mediocrity in your search for the island of perfection. I don't know. As far as tips on networking, man, I'm not the guy to ask. I fucking suck at networking. Like the whole being out here in LA and going to parties and meeting people and getting their numbers and exchanging information and then reaching out to them later and going and eating lunch and all that shit. Any person that can help me in my career, whether they be some random famous person or music industry person or entertainment biz person, anybody that can help me, I generally lose touch with them. And I have this thing where most of the people I hang out with are regular people. Most of the people that I really actually hang out with in real life are kind of regular people. And when I sometimes I feel like when I meet somebody that could help me or even just meet somebody who's famous or something, even if we get along, I feel bad calling them because I feel in my head, even though they probably don't feel this way, in my head I think, oh, they probably just think I'm gonna call them because they're them. You know what I mean? And so I lose touch with anybody. I just fucking suck at networking, man. If I was good at networking, maybe I'd be a little bit less worried about you buying my T-shirt. All right, we got thanks for the question, Tyler M. The next question comes from Ben K. Hey, Mike, how is everything your end? Long time no message. I've been super busy with work, exams, and generally just living life. It's my birthday on the 21st of September, so can you sing me happy birthday? I'll be 22. And I think, holy shit. Oh, that was yesterday. Damn, if I would have recorded the podcast yesterday, it would have been on your birthday. But happy 22nd birthday, man. That's you're getting up there, but you're still super, super young. Happy birthday to you. Oh, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Ben K. Happy birthday to you. Yeah, that was like a fucking fake ass crooner meets did a little too much speed version of happy birthday. So happy birthday, Ben K. And your question. He says, what's your advice for somebody moving away from home for the first time? Something I aim to do sometime next year. Well, it's going to be a difficult transition, Benjamin. It's going to be a difficult transition. I don't know how close you are to your family or how far away geographically you're moving from your family, but I would recommend Damn, for the first time, huh? So I don't know. I guess it depends on your personality. You know, some people that I met when I went to college, like I moved out right out of high school and went to college and lived in a dorm, standard American shit. And some people that I knew that didn't really rage too hard in high school, that didn't really like, drink or go out or party at all. Some of those people, they're the ones that, like, once they got that little freedom, they went ape shit and failed out all their classes and got alcohol poisoning, got a DUI, wrecked their car, stuff like that. But the ones who kind of already had a little bit of experience already had at least somewhat of an ability to tame themselves and maintain themselves and still focus on their studies. I don't know exactly what the reason is you are moving out either, Ben. I don't know if you're going to school or if you're just sick of living with your parents. I would recommend advice for someone moving from home for the first time. Man, I guess it also depends. Like, what is your mom do? If you still live with your mom specifically, like, what does she do? I don't know. Learn how to do laundry. Dude, I've been out of my house for God knows how many years, and I don't really know how to do laundry. I just do every single thing on warm. If it says don't machine wash, if it says wash on cold, it says wash on hot. Do not ever put in the washing machine or dryer. It all goes in the same shit on warm. So I don't know, maybe learn to do some cooking. Maybe do some be smart with your money, man. Be careful about your finances, Spend all your money on bullshit, then the first comes around and you're like just asked out. So just try to be wise, Benjamin. Just try to be wise. All right, we got another one here. We got a letter from Julia, the school teacher. Dear Mike, thanks for your great new song. It's just what I needed. I don't know why, but I'm kind of full of love after listening. Thank you so much. It made me think about my older brother. He's married, he's got kids, he just bought a house, and he's working his ass off to be able to afford his life. While I live alone, no kids, no commitments, and a pretty well-paid job. I think it might just be the right time to take him out and tell him how much I love him and how much I appreciate his tender and loving care for his family. And surely I'll tell him this one's on me. Thanks. Lots of love from Germany, Julia, the school teacher. Well, I appreciate that email a lot, Julia. And it doesn't even have a question. I just wanted to read it on the podcast because it made me feel good. And it made me feel like I'm at least having some type of positive impact on the world. And I think you really should go take your brother out. Maybe pay for his babysitter. You know what I mean? Give him some time to, people that have a family. My brother's one of them. They enjoy their time by themselves or their time out with friends, away from the away from the ball and chain of their young children. But appreciate the email, Julia. Excuse me, fuck. All right, we got another one here. We got one from Greg from Maryland. Congratulations on your single. Thanks, Greg. You mentioned in an earlier podcast that your album was finished, but that you went back to edit your single. My question is, what changed? How do you or your manager decide what helps a song get mass appeal? Do you change lyrics, add some background vocals, cowbell, or maybe a key change and some na-na-na at the end? I can't wait for the new album. Best of luck. Well, shit, you pretty much answered a lot of the question. If you listen to that song, This One's on Me, that is the song that I have a friend out here. He's a really what the fuck am I? Successful. He's a really successful songwriter. He wrote a little bit on that This One's on Me song. Well, we had the song done, and then it was like done, mixed, mastered, and all that. And we showed it to him, and he was like, man, you could change some things, hook up some parts, and we went ahead and did it. His name's Philip Lawrence. He's actually the dude. He's partners with Bruno Mars and the Smeezingtons, and he's a really, really cool dude, really talented dude, and he's really good friends with my partner Davey, my partner. That it's weird. Like the word partner, like everybody, people have business partners, people have music partners, and the word partner all of a sudden, maybe it's the word partner, or maybe it was the no homo trend that was around. Saying the word partner is especially weird now because I feel like I have to say, well, he's not my partner and my gay lover, But at the same time, I almost feel bad because that sounds kind of homophobic in itself to even feel like you have to deny that. But my partner, musical partner with no anal sex involved, David, Davey Nathan, is real tight with Phil, and he helped us hook up some of the song. Like, he did the background vocals on the song. He helped us beef up some of the production on the hook. We changed a couple lyrics, like small things here and there. And we already had the nah 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 and the key change, and he was into that. So there's some little things that he helped with. I mean, we'll see if it makes any difference, but you know, I don't even fucking know at this point. I don't know if anything I do is gonna be this massive thing, but I always thought that song could be something, man. I thought that this one's on me. I think it could be something. You know, whether it's on the radio or whether it's on a movie or something, it just sounds like a big song to me. It feels like it's a feel-good song, and came from a real place. And we'll just have to see what happens, man. I don't know. Maybe its lack of ratchetness will be its downfall in the modern marketplace. All right, we got one more. What time is it on this podcast? I feel like I'm being short today on this shit. We'll be good. I'll talk some more shit after this. All right, we got one more from Big D. Big D from Toronto. Hey, man. New song sounds made dope. New song sounds made dope. Oh, it must be mad dope. It's a good one to chill to, and my buddies seem to enjoy it when we were all drinking the other night. Can't wait to hear the rest of the album. I also completely disagree with your statement that people don't listen to albums 50 times anymore like they used to. I tweeted you the other day with this photographic proof that quite a few of your albums have been on one of my iPad's pods close to 100 times each. Well, I appreciate that, man. That's awesome. Question for you that maybe you can answer on the podcast. Other than music, what do you think is your best talent? Did you ever feel like you didn't have a talent in something? Also, did you end up watching Straight Outta Compton? Did you like it? I did end up watching Straight Outta Compton. I might have mentioned that on the last podcast. I don't know. But yeah, I did end up watching it, and I thought it was great. It's a really long movie, but I never lost interest. I also happen to be a really, really big fan of that era of rap music. When I was a little kid, I was really into Eazy-E and all that shit, and obviously the Chronic and Snoop and all that. But that NWA shit, when I heard that as a kid, it really affected me. Like, I'll never forget having that tape. I got the tape from a friend of mine's older brother, and it was like the kind of thing where I had to hide from my parents just listening to it. Back then, you had a Walkman, you know, showing my age here, but I'm fucking old, man. I listened to them when the shit was out. You know what I mean? I remember fucking all that early 90s shit. And yeah. The fucking, what's it called? What was I going to say? The movie was great, and I feel like they could, like, there's even with being 2.5 hours, there's still so much in that story, that whole story that they could have made just like a gangster, like if they did it the same exact way and made it 3 times as long and cut it into like hour segments, they could have made an amazing like mini series out of it too. I mean, they could have made forget mini series, like a macro series, like a real like Breaking Bad-ish kind of thing. But I guess you kind of already knows what happens, so it's weird to watch it in segments like that. It was a great movie, man. Great fucking movie. What was the other one? Other than music, what do you think is your best talent? My best talent other than music at this point in my life, I would have to say comedy, man. I know that some of my music has funny shit in it, but at this point, just like thinking of funny stuff and thinking of jokes and sort of doing stand-up comedy, and I'm trying to get better and better at it. But at this point in my life, I don't really have any other talents. I used to be good at I guess I'm pretty good with math and writing in general, but that kind of I think I'm generally intelligent. I think I'm a pretty intelligent person, you know? And I don't think that's always a good thing. I was just talking about this the other day, you know, the old statement, ignorance is bliss, is very accurate, and what people don't mention is that the opposite truth in that case is that intelligence is detrimental to happiness. when you think about everything and you analyze everything and you overanalyze everything and you're always in your head observing what goes on in the world, and if you think kind of scientifically, kind of logically, it makes it hard for you to believe certain things. For example, I feel like some of the people that are the most happy are people that have like this blind faith in both A, God, B, whatever little religious text they have, and C, an afterlife. Like if you really believe in this afterlife place you go where everything's all perfect, it kind of makes life a lot brighter, because you spend less time thinking about what the purpose of life is, and you spend less time thinking about how life is kind of fucking depressing. Like, you're just here and then you're gone, you know? And you do some shit while you're here. Maybe you create somebody else that's going to be here too and try to take care of them. And the more that I think about it and the more that I watch these fucking awful, depressing documentaries and shit, I feel like I gain intelligence, but I lose that optimistic sense of happiness that is gained by this blind faith that, in my opinion, is easier to have if you are less scientific and questioning. I don't know. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, and I'm definitely not saying that you can't be intelligent and be faithful and something like that, but I don't know. I've just been thinking about how ignorance is bliss, which is true on so many levels, has like this opposite quantification, I guess, which means that being intelligent, you know, is detrimental to bliss. And I think that that's accurate in a lot of cases. All right, did you ever feel like you didn't have a talent in something? Yeah. When I was a kid, I tried everything. You know, I was always at least decent with music. I mean, I don't think that I'm talented in a lot of areas of music. Like, I could play guitar for years. I would never be able to do like the speed picking shit. I don't have hand-eye coordination. Like, I suck at video games, and I suck at doing things where like your hands have to move real fast to do something. I was just watching this video on YouTube. If y'all ever seen it, it was real popular on Facebook. There's this dude. It's kind of fucked up. Kind of speaks to what I was talking about earlier. Is this dude who works at a fucking pig slaughterhouse, and there's a bandsaw, and he's just cutting up these pigs at this crazy speed. And if you watch it, it's like, how the fuck can you do that all day without chopping your hand off? I don't know how to tell you to search for that, but it's a pretty amazing video to watch on a bunch of different levels. I should have posted it on my Facebook, but if I did that for 30 seconds, I would cut my fucking hand off. Anything, like, I'm not good with hand-eye coordination, which of course affected my talent in anything like sports. I was actually pretty good I was relatively athletic when I was younger, but I was never like talented like that. And I was pretty good at skateboarding, but like I wasn't talented at skateboarding. There was a dude that I grew up with. I was actually watching an old video kind of recently that me and my brother had made when we were kids of us skateboarding, and there's this one dude, his name was Sean Copsey. He actually was like a semi-pro skater at one point, and he was talented on a skateboard. Like, he could make the skateboard do whatever the fuck he wanted to. He would go fast as shit and like just be smooth, and like we were all right. We could do some tricks, but like we weren't consistent. And then the main thing is, there's the one talent you really need to have when it comes to skateboarding if you want to succeed, is fearlessness. You have to go up and do these tricks downstairs and shit and not consider the consequences. You have to just have full-on confidence that you're going to do it. And if you miss it, you can, like, your brain can change real fast where you can kind of help yourself from falling too terribly. And I never, ever had that. Like, I was always scared and shit. Now it's even worse. And, you know, fear is detrimental to skateboarding. How much time have I been fucking yapping today? We get to an hour yet? We're 30 seconds away. So what do I talk about for 30 seconds? I was just trying to do two things at once. Anyway, hope you guys are having a great week. I hope everything in your life is going well. And if it's not, talk to somebody, man. Talk to your friend, talk to your mom, talk to your brother, talk to somebody that's in your life that can maybe cheer you up, because that happened to me a couple times this week. There's been a couple times this week where I've been just kind of down. And I talked to a friend for a long time on the phone, and they cheered me up. So besides that, fucking be safe out there.